Hi everyone, Doug Tully from UCI Outdoor Adventures again with another backpacking tip for you. So today I was going to talk to you about tent systems and some food preparation and storage considerations. So here I've got one of the tents that we use in our program. So this is a 4-person tent, so that's why it's pretty big and pretty heavy. But again, this is along the lines of an ultralight, so it's using lightweight nylon. Now this is what's considered to be a double wall system. You can get even lighter weight if you just go with a single wall system. If you know that you're not really going to be in rainy conditions, if you're out in the desert in the dry season and maybe just a little condensation is all that you're going to get, a lot of times you can either take a double wall tent and you can set it up as a single wall to reduce weight, or there are just single wall tent availables. The double wall gives you a little bit of extra safety, margin for error, because if I were in a single wall tent out in a pretty heavy rainstorm, it would eventually saturate the nylon of that tent, even if it's been coated, and then start to seep in, and it could get you wet inside. So again, if it's the colder months where being wet and cold out there for a long time would be dangerous, that you might be hypothermic or something like that, then that's where you want to err on the side of a double wall construction. If you're again doing things in summer months where it's pretty dry, where okay, worst comes to worst, I get caught in a rainstorm, then I just have to survive the night, then it'll be warm and the sun will dry everything out and I'll be warmed up again and ready to go, then that's when you can consider a single wall might be enough for your needs. Okay, so I have become a hammock camper because I just haven't been sleeping comfortably on the ground. So now I can get my whole tent system into a hammock this size. So again, it's a lot smaller. Now again, it's just for me, so I couldn't fit 3 or 4 buddies that I'm camping with in this, but it does work for me. It does keep it very clean. You'd be amazed at the amount of dirt you just track in just from your feet, kind of stepping into a tent or something like that. The only downside with this guy is, again, sometimes depending on where you're going, so like California where we aren't always in tree country, it can get a little bit tricky to set it up in a lot of places where we don't have good access to trees to serve as our anchors. But I really have liked it. I do sleep very comfortably, very nicely, warm and comfortable in my hammock. Okay, certainly with tents you get all sorts of shapes and sizes depending on how tall, how many people are in your group. If you're looking for a 2-person tent, and just realize that's 2 cozy people. They're not giving you a whole lot of elbow room. So our 4-person tent sleeps 3 people really comfortably, nice elbow room. 4 people, it's really tight. It's like sardines in there when you get 4 people in these things. So, just keep that in mind. But again, it's all about how much weight you're going to be carrying as you're backpacking in these sort of instances. If we're just going to car camp and we can put everything in the trunk of our car, pull up to our campsite and unload things, well, yeah, then we can have the luxury of having a huge tent. Maybe everybody can have their own tent, and we don't have to worry about weight so much. But if we were talking about backpacking, then weight is where that becomes a huge deal. Okay. All right, so let's talk a little bit about some food storage issues as well, because you may very well be in bear country, even though the grizzlies have migrated north out of California, you still don't want black bears in your campsite. And even amongst that, even if it's not bears, a lot of times the problems with chipmunks and squirrels and all sorts of little rodents that love to eat their way through things to get at your food or anything else that smells like food, whether it be bugs repellent or anything like that, if we use a bear canister, and this top just screws off so that we can secure it down. Okay, we can put food in there. There's a freeze-dried meal that I take a lot of times. Anything else that smells, so like I said, my bug spray, lotion, or anything like that. If I've got residue of food on plates and things like that. Even dental floss, toothpaste has a smell. We can put these things in there. And certainly food, even having this nice hard plastic thing, if you're working with something like an avocado or tomato, or even a little bit of bread that gets crushed in a backpack easily, this can be your safety, your protection for that stuff until you're ready to eat it. So it can be a handy tool. Yes, it's bulky. Yes, it's heavy. So it's not the funnest thing to have to deal with in backpacking, but it really is valuable, even if it is not eliminating the bears from your campsite. It's valuable for keeping out the rodents and protecting your food that might get crushed in your backpack. So definitely invest in a bear canister. It keeps our wildlife wild, which is exactly what we want to do. We don't want them in our campsites. We don't want them learning that we are good sources of food, whether they're actually attacking us or whether they're just getting into our stuff. We want them to stay wild. Then you've got many options for cook kits. This is what's called a jet boil. So this just boils my water so then I can quickly rehydrate my freeze-dried meal. So that's the simple, quick, and easy way to go. That's definitely nice and handy. There are other cook systems and things like that can be used. And then some examples of some nice lightweight, compactable dishware options. So this is my typical bowl for backpacking that I can just collapse down. It has a nice hard bottom, so if I need to cut anything, I can cut away on this. It gets down there and cleans out pretty easily if I've got sticky oatmeal or something like that. I've got a spork and a knife that click together very simply. Pretty inexpensive, practically indestructible. I do have a longer spoon for sometimes stirring in the Mountain House packet, which is nice. And then for making hot drinks or something like that, tea, hot cocoa, if I have any of that, I do have a reusable canister because typically my water bottles just have water in them. So a nice mug, if you will, for some other drinks or beverages. And then I just tend to keep those all together in a little cook kit so I know exactly where they're at. Water filtration. There's many ways to do it, anything from boiling water to using iodine tablets. This is what's called a SteriPen, so this actually just uses the light from it to sterilize out the impurities, which can be nice and easy to do. And then there's bigger, more industrial size options that have filters for when I am backpacking with a big group. But a nice SteriPen is a handy tool for making sure that I have good clean water to make sure that I'm not getting anything that's going to make me sick while I'm out backpacking. A nice light source, whether it be a headlamp or a small camp lantern, is also nice for when the sun goes down. These are both from Black Diamond. They do a nice job. This one's pretty lightweight and compactable and does a good job of putting out some good light, so I've liked it. In case you need trekking poles, that might be an option for you. And then don't forget about being safe. So maybe a little first aid kit, maybe an emergency blanket, just in case you need it for some reason. I have had these for quite a number of years and haven't had to use them, so just in case, it's always a good rule of thumb to be prepared, okay? And an ounce of prevention in the wilderness is worth a pound of cure. So don't become a statistic. Try to be prepared for whatever you might need, whatever you get into, okay? So I hope that gives you some ideas about things that will be handy and helpful as you're getting ready for your backpacking adventure. And I'll hope to see you out there. Have fun.